Thanks, Megan. Lovely to see you. I know there's a few more people who had signed up, but I think rather than wait for them, we'll just crack on and they can catch up later or watch it another time. I think most of you know me, all of you know me. I'm Rachel. I work at Five Talents and I also love running. So this is a dream trip for me. Some of you run together in Kenya, some of you run together at the Eden Project. So you'll meet old friends and hopefully make some new ones as well. So tonight I'm just going to share a little bit about with you about, first of all, the programme in Rwanda that Five Talents is supporting, because that is one reason we're all here. And then secondly, about the race itself. And then thirdly, a bit about the logistics, and then we'll make time for some Q&A as well. So first of all, the first thing you will notice about Rwanda is how absolutely stunningly beautiful it is. It is such a stunningly beautiful country. But perhaps even more beautiful are the stories that you will hear. So let me just start you off with one of them. This woman is called Louisa. She has four children and her husband became ill and could no longer work. So she was the breadwinner for the family. She had no business, so she didn't have any way to put food on the table. But she joined a savings group. She took part in some business skills training and she thought of a business opportunity in that lots of people ride bikes to get around in Rwanda and there were no bicycle repair shops. So she saw that people had to go a long way to get their bikes repaired. So she took a loan from her group. She bought some bike repair kits and spare parts and so on, and she set up this little shop. And it was profitable. So she took another loan and she employed someone to do the bicycle repairs in the shop for her. So now she's serving the community. She is making good profits from her business. And she says all of her children can now go to school. She can never have to stress about putting food on the table or buying medicine or buying clothes. So she's just one example of the sorts of women and entrepreneurs that you would meet if you came on this trip with us. So let me give you a little bit more background to the project in Rwanda. We've been working there since 2022. It's quite a new country for us. And the woman that you can see standing up in this photo in the blue dress, she is the programme coordinator of this work. She's the head of the Mothers Union, the women's outreach group in Rwanda. And she wrote to us after COVID saying that during COVID, she had noticed that the most marginalised people, the people who are struggling most through COVID, were what we call the female-headed households. So households where is a single mother or a widow or a woman on her own who's providing for the family. Now, Rwanda is quite a conservative society, so the idea of being a single mother is not always well received. And these women, Annunciata, the lady in the blue dress, had found were really struggling. So she asked us to start a programme that would particularly work with these single female-headed households. And that is exactly what we've been doing. We're working in 6 different regions. As you can see on this map, the blue ones are the ones that we are likely to visit, along with Kigali, which is the purple one near the middle, Kigali, the capital, where we will stay, but we are likely to visit the blue regions as well, shown on the map. Right now, Five Talents is supporting around 40 savings groups, nearly 1,000 women across those regions. They often start with literacy classes because many of the women have not had chance to complete school. And then they go on to form these savings groups where they pool their money together, go through some business skills training and take loans from their shared savings so they can start businesses, just like Louisa, the bicycle repair woman, did. We do have some impact data on the programme. Here's just a couple of stats. These are taken over just a 12-month period, so we would normally expect it to take a bit longer to start seeing results. But you can see even there, more women were able to start businesses. At the start of the programme, just 16% had businesses, and that had gone up to 29% after just 12 months. And they were applying some of their business skills training as well. By the time we get there, which will be 3 or 4 years in, we should see some even deeper impacts than those. And then one other element of this programme in Rwanda is agriculture and nutrition training. So Annunciata, the programme leader, had found that because these women had been struggling to put food on the table, there were quite high levels of child malnutrition. So we introduced the agriculture and nutrition training part of the programme where the women learn how to grow a wider variety of crops. They learn the most nutritious crops and so on. And we found that over just 12 months, 97% of the women had changed the way they grow the vegetables. And when I visited last year, it was one of the things that most of the women told me that a change for them, that now their children were no longer malnourished. So really, really tangible outcomes. Just a few other outcomes to share with you that you would hear about as well. More children go to school after going through these programs. They are able to buy more assets. You'll be able to buy a mattress or a mobile phone for the house. They can open a bank account so they can save their own money safely. And then this one, really interesting, understanding of family law going from 9% to 83%. Family law, of course, is really important. If you are a single woman, you need to know what your rights are under the law, particularly if you've suffered domestic abuse, for example, so that you have a way to combat that, knowing what the law says. So that's just a very quick rattle through what the programme is all about. If you see it for yourself, you'll have the chance to ask tons more questions. But we wanted to share a bit of inspiration with you as to why we would love to show you these projects and also love you to fundraise for them. But let me move on now to the race, which I know many of us are super excited about. Last year, I did the Kigali Peace Marathon. I wanted to check it out, see what it was going to be all about. So the photos I'm sharing now are from the official race photographs. You can see it's a big turnout. It does have the feel of a city marathon. Don't worry, not everyone is super elite, super fast Kenyan runners. There were a lot of other people who were walking or jogging as well. So you do not have to be a sub 2:10 marathoner to take part in this at all. We took some this is the route map from the website, which you can download yourself as well. So this is the half marathon route, and the full marathon is 2 loops of the half marathon route. I did the full marathon last year. I will say the majority of people do the half or the 10K. So the first lap was really fun. There was a great atmosphere, lots of runners, lots of company, as you often find. The second lap, I was running on my own for most of it. So just to be aware, if you do decide to do the full thing, it's quite a lonely second lap. But don't let me put you off if you're up for it. There are definitely other people doing it. But just to flag, the half marathon or the 10K are definitely the more popular options. So this route map that you can see here, just take a little look at the start and finish, which you can see it's the bottom right-hand corner of the slide, that loop there. So if I now show you the 10K route map, you can see that's exactly the same loop on the right. So the 10K route intersects with the half marathon. The 10K route was really lovely to see. There were a lot of Rwandans walking that. It's free for Rwandans to enter the 10K race. And the purpose of the race really is to bring different communities together, not least given the history of the genocide in Rwanda. One of the ideas of it is to bring people together just to participate in a fun activity together. So there's lots of people walking it, lots of singing and dancing and music. It's a really super fun atmosphere. And you could also see on this map, the pink hotel, Hotel Shaylando, that you can see kind of in the bottom of the dip of the route. That is where we would be staying. So it's a really convenient race location. I stayed there last year when I went to check it out, and it's a walking distance to the start and finish. I mean, in fact, you do go past it on one of the loops. So really, really convenient place for us to stay. The terrain, it's all on road. They're all good roads. They're well tarmac roads in Rwanda. Certainly in the city, they are absolutely excellent. So you're running through the city the whole time. There are plenty of water stations. There are no food stations or aid stations like that. So you would need to carry your own gels or whatever you want if you wanted those. But there is some entertainment by the roadside. That building behind is the massive arena where you go to collect your numbers and where the start and finish is. And then perhaps one of the most fun things about the event is just the array of different people that come together to do it. So you can see people come from different countries, they're wearing their national flags or whatever. So it does have this real sense of bringing people together from different nations, different communities. I guess that is why it's called the Peace Marathon. So really, really fun event to do. And then finally, just moving on to the logistics, and then I will stop talking at you and let you all ask questions. This is the itinerary that we have put together. So the idea is that we would fly on the Thursday night, landing on the Friday morning. Friday we'd probably take it easy, maybe do a bit of sightseeing or whatever, but probably want to rest a bit after the flight. Saturday, you need to collect your race number, and they do a little medical check. They take your blood pressure while you're waiting to get your race number and take a few other contact details from you. So that takes a little while. And then I think we would go to visit the Genocide Museum in the afternoon, because if you're going to Rwanda, you ought to go and see that. It is obviously quite harrowing, but it's well done and really interesting and well worth a visit. We would probably then meet our hosts, which is the Anglican Church of Rwanda. So we'd probably go and greet the Archbishop and the Mothers Union team. Some of them are going to take part. They're really excited about it. So some of the Mothers Union are coming together to take part in the race on the Sunday as well. I think they will be doing the 10K option. So Sunday is race day. We would walk from the hotel to the start, do the event, and then I think spend a little bit of time in the evening, probably resting and relaxing, maybe enjoying a beer and a good meal. Monday, we would head off to visit some savings groups. So that's when we would be meeting people like Louisa with her bicycle repair shop. The plan for that day, it's a 2-hour drive to the east of Kigali. So these are going to be Monday, Tuesday will be quite long days of travel. Tuesday, we'd be coming back to Kigali to sleep each night. And then on the Tuesday, again, visiting some groups in another region, again, coming back to Kigali to sleep for the night. Those of you who came to Kenya with us will remember the roads were pretty poor. The roads in Kigali are much better, so the journeys should be smoother, but it still will be long days on the road. And then Wednesday, we were planning a safari day because it's great to go see some of the wildlife as well as the projects and the running. And then we would fly home Wednesday overnight. So you can fit it all into a week if you're struggling to get time off work. But if you do want to stay longer, if you can stay longer, of course, you can book flights on any day. You can come early or leave late as you wish. The flights we were looking at are these direct flights with Rwanda Air. So outbound on the Thursday, coming back on the Wednesday night. These flights were about 600 quid when I checked yesterday, so that's a pretty good price for these flights. They might change, obviously. And we ask you to book your own flights on whatever days suit you. We'll arrange airport pickups, we'll arrange the hotel accommodation in Kigali and all the in-country activities. We're expecting that element to cost somewhere around about £800 probably. For all the in-country costs. So the overall cost is likely to be about 1,500 quid. Those are estimates. As I say, we would ask you to book your own flights and also deal with your own visa, insurance, vaccination, and also race entry, which is about €30, I think. And then 5 talents would cover the costs of vehicle hire and the hotel and so on in country, and then just recharge it at cost. So we wouldn't be adding any surplus on for 5 talents because we're asking you to fundraise separately, but we would just ask you to cover the costs themselves of the hotel and the vehicles and so on and so on. The accommodation, you can look at it on the website. They have a website, but you can see it's a nice place. It has got a really relaxing communal area as well. I don't remember if there was a swimming pool. You'd think I would remember that, but I don't remember that, I'm afraid. I do remember sitting on a terrace having a good meal and a drink after the race. So there's definitely that. Comfortable rooms, clean, very safe. So it will be a good place to base ourselves. And then just so that another picture of a group. This is a group that I visited last year. The woman in the white dress told me how she was a single mother because her husband had been beating her, and in the end she had to leave. She said she left 2 or 3 times and went back, but in the end she decided she had to leave altogether. And she joined the group not just to be able to start a business so she could put income on the table, but also for the sense of solidarity and social support. She said being with other women like her meant she didn't feel that she was on her own. So the programme visits will be really impacting and powerful parts of the trip, I think, but equally the race itself, the chance to visit the Genocide Museum, the Safari Day, and there'll be a lot of depth and breadth of experience. Hopefully a really, really exciting trip for us all. So, any questions? If you are up for this, the next step would be to book your flights. I would recommend doing that as soon as possible because usually the costs go up the longer you leave it, although it's a bit of a lottery. Fill in our booking form and we would ask you to pay a deposit just so that we can start paying for things like the accommodation and the vehicle hire. The rest we would ask you to pay after we come back when we know exactly what the costs have been. So those are the next steps.